It's time to take a ride on the Steelers Afternoon Drive with our co-hosts, Alan Saunders and Zachary Smith.
Get in the van. We're going for the Steelers Afternoon Drive. I'm Zachary Smith. That is Alan Saunders. Alan, how are we feeling?
Frustrated, Smitty. Having some technical difficulties. I waited almost an hour for the transaction report to come out today when I didn't need to, so it's very late, and I'm hungry, and I'm ready to go. I'm just. It's not been a great evening. It's now evening.
Yeah,
it's not even afternoon drive. It's now evening drive.
Right.
Clear.
I don't even know if we can consider this an afternoon drive, but obviously still going to do an episode regardless of what time it ends up getting put out. That's just how we roll here. I echo the same sentiments.
Apologizing ahead of time because we've been trying to figure out what is wrong, whether it's me, it's you, it's StreamYard, something. I don't know. We're doing the best we can here. I don't know. We're getting some gremlins in the system, so trying to figure it out.
Mm-hmm. We maybe found out something. We'll see. This is a test run that is going to be the actual episode, hopefully. So we'll see how things look and sound when we get to the end of it. But Alan, today, Thursday, Coordinators Day, TA and Artie Smith both talking. Curious to see what TA had to say specifically. Obviously, get a new piece in Kyle Dugger, who might have to and might want to play quite a bit immediately this week against the Indianapolis Colts. What did he have to say about that acquisition and kind of the role that he could slot right into?
Yeah, I mean, it was a very sort of strange, press conference from TA in general, and I thought the Dugger stuff was oddly sort of non-committal. So he just said, like, they obviously at that point they had only had one walkthrough. They hadn't had practice yet today with Dugger, but he just said, we'll determine as we get a little closer. We'll try to do the best we can to get him ready to be available for us in some capacity. I mean, to me, that sounds like it's a question of whether he plays at all this week, let alone starting. Like that almost seems like definitely not happening. I couldn't even pin him down on like, is Dugger going to play strong safety? Like it took like a third question to get to that and ask him, what are the other options if he's not playing to replace Deshaun Elliott? And he kind of laughed and hemmed and hawed and then kind of said Peppers can play strong safety. And I'm like, okay. And then Peppers was limited in practice today with a quad injury. So I don't know what's going on at safety, Smitty. Nothing good. That I think we're pretty sure of. I wonder if there's some coyness going on here because there's like another idea afoot, talked about like, will they just move Jalen Ramsey to safety? I don't know. I don't know what's going on, but it's been a bit weird about the I mean, I expect at some point in the near future, probably as soon as next week, Cal Dugger should be the starting strong safety, I would think. But I mean, we didn't get that either. I don't know. I would have thought that the answers would have been much more definitive than they were.
Sure. Absolutely. I mean, I would think so too, obviously, like outside looking in from a different perspective.
Yeah, if the answer's good, like that Cal Dugger's going to be our starting strong safety, but we'll see how much he can do this week, but that's what we're going to eventually. I'd have been like, okay, fine, whatever. But like, I don't know. The way it was all laid out was very strange.
Yeah. Well, okay. We'll see on the Cal Dugger thing, but okay.
Healthy. That's another part of it is that he, has been dealing with some kind of knee thing. Now he was listed as full participant today. So I guess maybe that was part of it too, is that he didn't know before practice how much Dugger was going to be able to do. I don't know. Strange.
Yeah. Well, I guess we could actually, before we go further, dive into that injury report. You mentioned Dugger knee thing, but still obviously practicing and stuff. Corey Trice just came back to practice following a lengthy absence from the hamstring thing. And then he's a limited participant, and it's not the same thing. Now it's listed as a knee. What do we make of this?
It's not good. I don't know what the injury is. I don't know how severe it is. I didn't see Corey in the locker room after practice. Not usually a great sign. They were practicing indoors today on the turf, which when you say knee always gets me worried. I don't know. So hoping it's something minor for Corey Trice, but man, that guy just cannot catch a break.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. One practice back from the hamstring injury, and now this. We'll see where it goes. I don't know, but it's definitely not a good thing.
Yeah, and I want to apologize because I made light of the situation on Twitter before realizing that was a new injury. I thought maybe they were kind of like easing him back or something from the hamstring thing, and I tweeted the video of Aaron Rodgers running onto the field with a flag. And that's, not a good look, obviously, for me, and I apologize for that. I mean, because that's obviously not something to make light of. I know that people get frustrated when you have injury-prone players. Imagine being in the player's shoes. Like, it's not like he wants to be hurt all the time, and he's the one that has to go through this habit. And so, yeah, I felt bad.
Yeah, I don't know what the future holds there, but obviously not good. Corey talked to him yesterday. We talked a little bit about that conversation, but I thought he had a good quote there. He said, "I feel like I give the game everything I've got. I feel like I do right by the game even when no one's watching. So when stuff like that happens, I just know I put my best foot forward. I know I did everything I could." And that's obviously just his words, but like that is 100% what Corey Trice is all about too. Like some guys get hurt because they're like not in great shape, don't take care of themselves, don't do things the right way. It's clearly not the case with him, and it's just cruel sometimes. So we'll see where this goes. I have a note into the league that I'm waiting for clarification on. So his 21-day window opened yesterday. I don't know if it being a new injury then gives them any flexibility there or not. Right. But otherwise, like, let's say he just like very minor knee sprain. Okay. But now he's going to miss 3 weeks because of a very minor knee sprain at practice today. That would mean that they would have to activate him before he's healthy to keep him from missing the rest of the season if they don't get some kind of accommodation for it being a new injury. So we'll see what the league says. Obviously, I sent that after 5:00, so I don't expect to hear back from them until tomorrow.
Yeah, that is interesting. I mean, you'd think that that's happened before, unfortunately, somewhere around the league, right? Like, I mean, it's odd for sure.
It's a pretty
but I feel
new
like there's
rule, though. So, like, I don't know.
Yeah. All right, sticking with the injury stuff, Pat Freiermuth did return to practice. We mentioned we didn't think that was going to be a lengthy absence or anything like that. Was there anything that I missed? Obviously, some vet days off taking place today. Was there anybody else that we missed? Oh, Jabril Peppers, you mentioned, though, as well.
We'll talk
That's
about him.
interesting.
Yeah. Cole Holcomb out with an illness. Quad for Jabril Peppers.
What was Peppers? Okay.
Yeah, Cole Holcomb out with an illness. Darius Slay, personal reasons. Don't know what that's about.
Oh, yeah.
Hope everything's okay with him. Zach Frazier improves to limited. And Ben Skoranek full from being limited yesterday with whatever that neck injury is. I've seen him walking around. He's fine. So it takes a lot to hurt a Ben Skoranek.
Second straight DNP for Isaac Seumalo. Where's your comfort level in saying that it will be Spencer Anderson at guard on Sunday?
It'll be Spencer Anderson at guard on Sunday. I also don't think Scotty Miller's going to play this week.
All right. Well, okay. All right. Well, there we go on the injury stuff. I normally like to start out with that, but got steered away probably because of just how, thrown together this kind of whole thing has been with all the difficulties that we've gone through.
A real slapdash effort from your heroes here.
But when I asked about Duggar with TA specifically, you said it was kind of an odd TA day in general. Duggar absent of that. I'm just wondering what you meant by that. Like, what did he say that was so odd?
Well, that was the one thing that was kind of strange. For sure. But yeah, I mean, yeah, that was odd. there's this narrative that's continued, and I don't know if now it's us just running with it, or that Tomlin talked about on Tuesday of them not handling adversity. And I don't even really want to get into it, because I just think the whole thing is nonsense. I don't like, you're professional athletes. Like I'm saying, like, am I supposed to really write that the defense failed because they felt bad about themselves? Like, what are we doing here? The other thing that I thought was maybe not odd, but I just, sometimes you ask a hard question, and look, being in a press conference is not easy. But like, I have all day, really all week, to come up with what I'm going to ask people, and they have 30 seconds to come up with an answer. But I asked them about facing Shane Steichen's defense, and the response was basically, we just have to do better. It was, I mean, I want to read the quote, because like, there's nothing here.
Yeah.
They have done a good job in terms of that. We just have to do a better job on a lot of fronts, but he does a good thing schematically. They have good schematics. They get the ball to the right guys. The teams we've played of says they always have a good running game. True. And they challenge you in that regard in terms of the run pass option, getting the ball down the field to the playmakers. So he does a good job in that way, and we have to do a better job in terms of combating that and understanding who does what for them. I believe that could be written about every good offense in the history of football. That pretty much applies to every single one. That is the most generic response to a question about what has Shane Steichen done. Shane Steichen was the offensive coordinator in Philadelphia, and then 2 games as the head coach of the Indianapolis Colts, has scored in 3 games 102 points against the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. That's more than they've run the ball well. There's okay, and like, I understand I'm basically asking TA, like, hey, what have you done badly? But man, if I was a fan, I would feel a lot more confident in the team's ability to overcome said trend, had the answer to that question been something more along the lines of, yeah, man, he's really got us good the last couple times. Well, we've been in the lab, and I'm obviously not going to let you guys in on it, but we think we got some things figured out, and we're going to be able to put up a better fight against it this time. And he really got us with play X, Y, Z, and it was their RPO that hurt us the last year, and it was this and that. I mean, that answer was completely devoid of any specifics. And for a defense that's under fire for not looking like it really knows what it's doing, I mean, not a great look, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. You mentioned how generic of a quote that could be for pretty much any successful offense, let alone the offense with the highest success rate of the century. Not the decade, not the last 5 years, not this season, the century in the 2025 Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's not like, I picked out the Steelers' failures against him in my question, but he's doing it to the rest of the league now too. The Shane Steichen has expanded his damage from just Pittsburgh defenses to now all of them, and he's doing it with a just okay group of talent. Well, that's the other part of it too. Is a lot of times when you face the same team over and over again, the question is it the coach, or is the coach the schematic matchup, or is it the players? But very clearly, Steichen, he did it with the Eagles personnel. He did it with one group of Colts personnel that included Gardner Minshew and Trey Sermon, and then he did it with a completely different group of Colts personnel. So it's not the players, it's that guy. And I mean, I already was going to pick the Colts tomorrow. I don't think I'm like talking out of turn. I don't think I'm giving away anything that I haven't already deeply hinted at. But if I was going to change my mind, that sure does not have me doing it.
What I will say is about this group specifically is I feel like massive leap along the offensive line for them this year. That group has been dominant up front. And I think even when Steichen has had the Steelers number in the past, that hasn't necessarily been the case. And if you're looking for maybe a way to tie that back to the Steelers, if you feel like the Steelers offensive line has taken a bit of a leap this year, you're now seeing what the fruits of that labor could be if you are successful in rebuilding that group. Because I think that the Colts weren't there just a couple seasons ago. I think they got a really good coach in there now. And I think that they got the talent up front now. Quentin Nelson has been there, obviously, but kind of just, and it's been that group of players together now for a couple seasons and growing. Teryl Bortolini, what a find he has been as well, because he's having a fantastic season.
That's right where I was going to go. It's also been a group of low drafted players. Bernard Ryman was a 3rd-round pick. Mac and Salvis from Pitt was a 3rd-round pick. Tanner Bortolini was a 4th-round pick. And those guys have turned into really quality linemen for them. And that's a big win when you can do that. And then you're drafting, in addition to rebuilding your offensive line, you're drafting Latu. You're drafting Tyler Warren. You're getting the high-end talent at other positions in addition to rebuilding the offensive line. That's a heck of a job by not just Shane Steichen, but the Colts front office as well.
And one that's been under fire. I mean, we came into the season thinking this could be it if this thing goes south, and it's doing the opposite. So, for a group that could have been done after this year and needed to hit on pretty much everything they did, done it.
I will say, I think their defense is attackable. I don't think that like Jermaine Pratt isn't what he once was.
Yeah.
Zaire Franklin is definitely not what he once was. I really like Buckner and Grover Stewart, but they are older guys. They don't necessarily play like every down anymore. I don't think the edges like Latu and Pay were 1st-round picks that they're not bad players, but they haven't really become kind of like the star that you're thinking when you use a 1st-round pick on an edge rusher. And I think the secondary is really where you can take advantage of these guys. There isn't anybody back there that should scare anybody. Mekhi Blackman's been there a little while and he's okay, but like in general, like this you can throw on this team, I think. And
especially if
kind of been
Ward on any turn for this one.
Yeah.
So, anything specifically, because I know that this would be of interest, obviously, to Steelers fans, or a lot of them, I should say, and specifically defending the Tyler Warren aspect of this offense and the different things he can do.
Yeah, I mean, I think they've got some options. It's a challenge within a challenge, right? I mean, Tyler Warren is a problem for everybody. Every team is coming into their game this week, the week they play the Colts, saying, okay, what are we going to do about Tyler Warren? But also the Steelers have so much else going on around that they're trying to balance on defense. I think it makes it much more difficult. I would like to put Peyton Wilson on him and leave him there and play man-to-man the whole game. I don't know if the Steelers have the players on the outside to do that. And if you got to play zone, I think you're going to lose them. Like, I don't really think you can do that. Now, you can keep a lid on it. You can play zone and just keep them to 5 to 7 yards a catch and hope you do enough. Really, really stop Jonathan Taylor. I mean, that's the other big question mark here is, can you even afford to play Peyton Wilson? Or do you think you need one of your bigger linebackers to stop JT? Where's Jalen Ramsey playing? So, like, I think those are, can you play nickel against 11 personnel? They usually play 11 personnel on offense. Can you play nickel against 11 personnel and still stop the run? These are questions I don't think we have the answer.
I don't know if they have the answer to. That's what I say. I'm very curious what the game plan is going to be.
Like they do.
And I don't know that I want to find out. I don't know that I want to find out. All right. Well,
I don't think their receivers
obviously talk more about
terrifying in the way that like Cincinnati's are. Like, I think this is a game where the secondary, if it has some answers to what's been ailing it, if the Steelers lose this game, but the secondary looks competent, and they, unlike the rest of the league, are really unable to significantly slow down Jonathan Taylor and Tyler Warren, do you consider that like some kind of victory?
I mean,
I don't
maybe. Ask me again after we find out the result of the Ravens and Dolphins tonight.
Trap game, baby. Big time trap game. Big time trap.
I'm literally
everything.
I broke out.
The Ravens are getting healthy. The Dolphins are a train wreck, crashing into a tire fire. All the signs point to Baltimore just rolling. So it's Thursday Night Football, which means the opposite's going to happen. I don't know. Just no Pelusi's picking tonight. Julie's under the weather. I'll throw one out here on the afternoon drive. Give me Dolphins catching 7.5 points.
I was just saying, I like them to cover. Winning the game out might be a different conversation. I certainly think it'll be closer than the 7.5, though. So little impromptu Smitty pick 'em here. All right, let's talk about the offensive side real quick with Arthur Smith talking. Obviously, we don't have to do the full. I mean, that's what tomorrow is for, to preview and predict and talk about both sides of the ball attacking each other. But in terms of what Artie Smith had to say today, anything that caught your ears?
Yeah, well, I mean, great question about, hey, what are you going to do with this jumbo package now that you can't use Spencer Anderson in it? Yeah. And he gave the great, we'll let the Colts figure that out on Sunday answer, which I love. I think the two options are obvious. I think you either play somebody at guard and Spencer Anderson at jumbo, or you play either Ryan McCollum or Calvin Anderson, who have both at least briefly done it out there. The one fly in that ointment, Zach Frazier has been practicing a lot with that calf. So McCollum's been practicing at center. So you can't have him practice in two places at once. That's kind of the one downside there. And they don't really have another center. So I would be a little surprised if it's McCollum. I think it'll probably be somebody playing guard and Spence moving outside, or just Calvin Anderson. I can't believe they're going to get away from it. I mean, I guess they did in the second half last game because they didn't have a backup ready, but I think they're going to have something ready to go for this game. I would be really surprised.
You mentioned in terms of the last game, though, and I was curious if Art got asked about that or what he had to say. We brought it up on here. Offense shouldn't shoulder a lot of blame for that result. I'm not saying that by any means, but the most peculiar part about the offense in that game was, you go into the half up 9 and then you only run the ball one time before all of a sudden you're down 10. Didn't know if that was brought up at all or if you had an answer to it. If so, or what? Okay.
Yeah. So basically what he said was, there was drives where he wanted to run the ball. He just didn't want to run on 1st and 10. And then they threw and got behind the sticks and then felt like they had to keep throwing. And it was just really 2 drives, because after the 2 drives, they were then trailing and then kind of needed to throw. So, basically said like it was like 2 1st and 10s that got us out of our script that we had, that the intention was to go into the second half largely running the ball, and they just didn't possess the ball enough, which inspired a follow-up question that was great. The thing about Arthur Smith is, you're getting some piece of obscure history in every press conference. We've talked about Napoleon. We've talked about Alexander the Great. We've talked about World War II, British paratroopers. We've been all over the history books. A little football history today, though. He challenged us. Does anybody know how long the New York Giants had the ball against the Buffalo Bills in Super Bowl 25? Playing Jim Kelly and the K-gun offense, which was at that time fairly revolutionary. The shotgun, hurry up, no huddle that doesn't let the other team substitute. And he said Bill Parcells had once told him that the Giants held the ball for 40 minutes in that game. And that's the only reason that they felt like they were able to slow down that Buffalo offense. And talked about how the time of possession isn't important to the offense, but it's important to the team. Like, it doesn't matter to the offense how long it takes them to score. It just matters to the team. And so talked about how those things go hand in hand. If you're not as old as I am and you don't remember Super Bowl 25, the Giants win by 1 when Buffalo Bills kicker Scott Norwood missed wide right on a last second would have been game-winning Super Bowl field goal. And then the Buffalo Bills went on to lose 3 more of those in a row. So,
Yeah, I mean, that certainly does feel like if the Steelers are going to have a shot, there needs to be very few possessions in this game, and they're going to have long drives where they're just kind of taking the air out of the ball and keep Indy's offense on the sideline. So I do believe that that is relevant to this topic, to this discussion this week. So yeah, all right, good stuff from Martin. Yeah, we always appreciate when he throws in his history lessons as well and shows off that if he weren't coaching in the NFL, he could probably be a history teacher somewhere if he wanted to be. So. You sent me something that you wanted to talk about.
Money that he does not have to be a history teacher. He's set. He's good. He can do whatever he wants.
No, right, absolutely. Well, he might just do it for the enjoyment. He might volunteer.
He might be like Indiana Jones, right? Where he's like a college professor that spends most of his time just
also
out about doing like out there out there like dusting off mummy sarcophaguses in Egypt instead of in his classroom. I can 100% see Arthur Smith as Indiana Jones.
I appreciate Indiana Jones being thrown in because also relevant with Daniel Jones and his new nickname being the Indianapolis Colts quarterback coming to town this week. Something you mentioned you wanted to talk about, Alan. You sent this to me today from a friend, Nate here, listener of the show. Massive fan. Keep up the great content. Do have a question. Know you're more about the X's and O's and explaining them. When you hear other players like Flacco, Chase, Gronkowski, Edelman say things like, we know what they're doing. What do you think the root causes? Are they pointing to the same defensive philosophy, or are they talking about what they're actually running on a play-to-play basis? Not one of the guys that are calling for firing Tomlin, but I do find it somewhat alarming that people said this now over years. I just want to know if there's any truth to those statements. Again, appreciate all you do.
Yeah, I mean, there's a big difference between knowing what the Steelers are going to do in a game and knowing what the Steelers always do. One of them is not great, but very common. The other is bad. So, I mean, what Edelman and Gronk are talking about is the Steelers used to play one coverage the vast majority of the time. The Dick LeBeau's defense played what we call spot drop cover 3, country cover 3, whatever you want to call it, all the time. They almost never played anything other than that, and they would occasionally play some man free, some cover 1, very rarely a cover 0, but they always had that one high shell, that single. So you had one look always, and then it's very easy after that to determine what is man and what is zone. You just put a guy in motion. Any motion will identify whether the coverage is man or zone. If a guy goes with him, it's man. If a guy doesn't, it's zone. So it's very easy if you're Jamar Chase. Every receiver knows what the defense is when the ball is snapped, pretty much. Unless you're really like sort of like almost dangerously disguising a coverage where you're getting guys running over late to try to do something because you're trying to disguise it. Everybody knows. Now, but when you're always running the same coverage all the time, that's not good. One of the things the Steelers did when they brought Teryl Austin in was they significantly diversified their menu of coverage lineup things. We've seen much more cover 2. We've seen 2-man. We've seen quarters. These are things that the Steelers did not run a lot before they brought Teryl Austin in and have run significantly more than when they brought Brian Flores in. They added a couple more pieces there, and they now have what I would call a fairly normal diversification of coverages compared to other NFL teams. There is an account called like Football Insights, I believe it's called, that tweets every week the coverage breakdown of every team cumulatively to that point in the season. And you can go on there and look, and you can see what the Steelers have run and what everybody else has run. And the numbers are generally, I mean, like, look, they all have different, it's FBall_insights. If you are inclined to find, in fact, I can, if I get 3 seconds here, I can actually bring it up. Image. Nope, that didn't work. As I try to bring this up, but you'll see that the coverage is, I mean, everybody has like a little bit of different personality. Some people run more cover 2, some people run more cover 3, some people run more man, some people run more zone. But there are not like a major outlier in almost any way. Here you go. So this is a hard chart to read, but basically each of the vertical columns is a different kind of defense, and the darkness of the blue represents how much they run. So as you see, the Steelers run a little bit more cover one than most teams this year, and a lot less cover six, which is quarter, half quarter, cover two, half cover four. They run that among the least of anybody. But other than that, they're pretty much in the normal distribution of all the rest of the defenses in terms of what they do. They are no longer this crazy outlier in terms of what they're doing schematically. And so, it's not applicable anymore. What Chase is talking about is, I knew they were going to man me up. We knew they were going to man him up. Everybody knew they were going to try to man him up. It didn't work. But you know that as it's happening all the time. That's not new or unusual.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm very curious as to what the game plan is going to be this Indianapolis team, and I'm kind of scared to find out what it is, but we will in due time, and we'll talk about what we think it might be tomorrow with DB on here, obviously, when we preview, we predict. But good stuff as always, Alan. Anything else? If not, tell the people they can find you.
Saunders _PGH on X, Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky. PGH Steelers Now is the site's account, SteelersNow.com. Go there, read the words so I can get paid. Sign up for SN Plus, and you get all the best content from me, DB, the rest of the Steelers Now team. You get access to our subscribers only live stream. We will have a new one for the month of November coming up shortly. And anyone can subscribe, hit that bell for notifications here on the Steelers Now YouTube channel. That really helps us grow this show and all the rest of our shows to a bigger and bigger audience, which you guys have been doing an awesome job of, and just continue to see that number rise as we continue our climb toward 17,000. We have Smitty 16,900, and I can only think of the current guy. Jonathan Dwyer, was that 27?
Yes, it was. And
I have obviously a big part of the early part of this show. So
I have whatever the opposite of a favorite is, I think, not just amongst the fans, but also people that cover the team. Marcus Allen, number 27.
Marcus Allen, if you are a fan of the Locked On Steelers Stars and Skulls grade, Marcus Allen was the impetus for the invention of the bus ticket grade. That was the first guy to get.
Actually, not sure that I was aware of that, but okay, there we go. Bus ticket, and a bus ticket. He was given. It
was not that weak, but it did come. It did come.
Yeah.
Another good 27. Another notorious 27. Anthony Smith, the young safety that notoriously talked trash on Tom Brady and then paid the price for that over and over again.
Well,
I was thinking we might get 29. Kyle Duggar, first day in 29.
Yeah.
And I knew we were close. I was thinking it might happen, but didn't.
Yeah, I would say tomorrow, but no, let's not. We don't want just new subscribers before tomorrow. So let's clear that number by a bunch. Yeah, we don't want that.
Yeah, we got to get all the way to Jared Farm, right? I don't know.
I mean, just get us to 17K tomorrow. We'll open the show talking about it. Make it happen.
Heck yeah.
But all right, good stuff. Subscribe to that notification bell, as Alan said. Hit us in the comments, your thoughts, anything that we talked about today, question for a future episode, all that good stuff. Apple, Spotify, wherever your podcast from. We are there. Just search Steelers Afternoon Drive, and there leaves a 5-star review and subscribe. Do all that good stuff for us. You can find us also on TikTok, also Steelers Afternoon Drive, and then you'll find me everywhere, Zachary Smith, PGH, Saunders, and myself. Thanks for jumping in. Take another ride on the Steelers Afternoon Drive.